I'll go ahead, Wally. I'm sorry.
I've got a question, Gary. I'm looking at the little bio. You appear to be a full-time employee of an academic institution coaching hockey. Is that correct?
Well, my full-time job right now is a technology coach, and then my part-time job is coaching hockey. Yeah.
But is that at the school?
Yes.
So my point is, hell, I don't know whether, like when you're a staff member, and I know coaching football, because Gary, I did for 30 years as well.
Yeah.
I had control of the environment. The kids were there, and it was totally you were able to get them engaged. And I think one of the advantages you have in being in charge, not only your experience, but the fact that you can sort of look at the big picture and attend to the details to, you know, to reduce the coaching jam kind of thing. And you've had success with that, obviously, because I mean, 7-time hockey coach of the year, that's pretty impressive. So results come with that. And I just wonder if you could comment on the things that really have worked best for you in accomplishing your purpose.
Well, hmm, this is what I'll say. I think I would be willing to bet a lot of money that everybody on this meeting here would probably agree that you guys have spent your lives, you've dedicated your whole lives to what you do because you love it, you're passionate about it, and I don't think you can fake that with children, and you can't fake it with your pets. Like kids and pets will sniff you out. I had a buddy who lived on a farm, and the guy he was a legit farmer, and he had three daughters. And anytime the daughter wanted to date a guy, she had to bring the guy to the farm, and the dogs had to give their approval. And if any of those dogs growled at the guy, the dad just like, nope, not happening, you know. So I think like kids are the same way. Kids know if you truly care or not. And I don't think the people who are vested in hockey are people that try to highlight themselves. Like you do things because they're meaningful to you. And I think it's the things that people don't see that make the difference. So one of the things is inclusivity. So I think that's word is probably the most critical on a team, but it's really hard to do um, when you're in situations like high school because your talent is so vast. Like we don't cut at our high school. Like I don't cut guys.
Right.
They have kids who kind of read the tea leaves and like, all right, I'm not going to play a lot. Coach is like, thank you for the opportunity. But I've had two kids now come out in the last 4 years who never played before. One is a sophomore, one was a sophomore, and then one came out this year. So if you fast forward from 2 years ago to this year, the kid who never played hockey before, was a good athlete, but never played organized hockey, he was able to get on like our third line in the second half of the year.
Mhm.
So I had another kid this year join, never played before. And I shared this with Dr. Miller. I I'm embarrassed to say it took me a very long time to figure out, but I did figure out something that was good. So I don't know if you guys ever use like helmet stickers or whatever. People use different forms of positive reinforcement, but we'd use helmet stickers over the years. The typical stuff, goals, assists, all that stuff. And number one, it was time consuming. Number two, you really excluded, like Hal said, like most of your team because two or three guys are doing the lion's share of the scoring. So I had this idea last year that I ordered like two different helmet stickers, one for my leaders and then the other for the rest of the group. And I gave After film sessions, once a week, I gave every kid in the room a sticker, and the kid had to get up in front of his teammates and say, "I'm giving this sticker to Wally because." And then you started bringing in all these other things, like he drives me to and from school after practice all the time. I don't have rides. My parents work. I heard him cheering on the bench all game long, and I knew he didn't get a shift, but I heard him and how supportive he was. So all these kinds of things were coming up. So instantly, everybody was included, and everyone's value was there. So inclusivity is something that I think is really, really critical. Now, I told you about the two kids who never played hockey before. So the second of the two, the kid who's a sophomore this year, gets up with his sticker in one of our meetings and said, "I'm giving this to Luke. He inspired me to come out and play because I saw what he did, and it made me think I could do it too."
Nice.
And I was just like, I stopped and it was like an amazing moment, like probably the best moment of the year, where it's like all the stuff you're doing, like, yeah, this is exactly what it's supposed to be. Anyway, I think inclusivity, I think spending time with your players outside of season, so my guys know they could reach out. Like, we live about a mile from a golf course, and guys will reach out like, "Hey, coach, I'm looking for a job in the summer," and like, I'm sure all stuff you guys have all done, and you get these guys connected. You have relationships. They're reaching out for letters of recommendation. I'm reaching out to them like, "We need help at XYZ clinics. I'll give you community service hours," and you just spend time with them. If one of them is getting jammed up in school, whatever, have the ability to get in and have conversations with them and the teachers, if that kind of thing, or just have a conversation with them about what can they do in their position to try to make it better and try to use this situation to help you. And I just think you can't fake that stuff. I think we all have weaknesses as coaches, and I know I've got more than a few, but I think if you are genuine in what you're doing, I think that is kind of probably the biggest thing. On the level that I'm coaching, is that to be, an authentic person and show your players that you care, by what you do, not by what you say.
Well, clearly, from what you're saying, you're certainly one of these coaches who is exemplary. I mean, who obviously cares and is creative about how you express your care. And I mean, that sticker idea, which you've told me before, I think it's a great idea. I mentioned.
Yeah, and I have, and then there was a kid who was very inspirational in our team. He's another guy who didn't play a whole lot, but he worked his way into a spot where he was getting playing time and he was making plays, and the players go crazy. But like, I like, like, this is our little, like, our vanilla sticker. And then the captains came to me one week about this player, and they said, "Coach, could we get a helmet sticker with his picture on it? Because I think the guys would love it." So I had a helmet sticker made up with that kid's image on it. And at the end of those meetings, I would invite the player up, and he got 3 stickers that he was able to give out, like special accommodation to 3 players. And we kind of went over some basic guidelines with them. But so every week he would get up, give out his 3 stickers, and that was the sticker that was the most sought after. Was the one that the kid gave out.
That's a great,
right? Like, but I'm saying, think about it. Like, how many hours have you spent in rinks? How many hours have you spent, like, learning the game, playing the game? Like, all told, like, thousands and thousands of hours. And then you're like, in 1 minute, like, instead of doing stickers like this, why don't we do it like this? And in 1 minute, like, you flipped something that was so significant that you had 100% buy-in. That's mind blowing to me. Like, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
We had one year, one of the kids found a little Tweety bird You know who Tweety Bird is, the cartoon character? It was a little stuffy.
Mhm.
And we started, one of the kids who was just a character, he would hold it up and he would start, I don't know, dancing and singing, and then he would hand the bird off to another kid on the team because they played a great game or something, right? And of course, that kid got to take the bird home in his bag, and then it came out again the next game. Um, we actually ended up having to stop it because we got some got some complaints about, you know, how come my kid doesn't get it often, that kind of stuff. But one of the things that, and I've shared this with the Sharks before, I started using the thing called winner's circle at the end of every practice. And I started it when I was doing it in high school, and then I moved over when I moved over and did U15 girls. I had to modify it a little bit because it was taking so long to do it. But it's right at the end of practice, and you get everybody together, and then they have to compliment a teammate for something that they saw them do during practice. Now you have to again let them kind of play with it because they'll just pick their friends or they'll do that, and then you have to kind of on the side say, you have to interject yourself. With the girls, it was interesting because initially I would allow like 5 or 7 minutes at the end of practice, but I had to get it up to 10 because they all want to do it. Um, their turn, and so you have to manage it. The boys was a little harder to get them to do it, but once they got the idea, it really, I think it worked really well. So if you think about it, Gary, you're coaching high school kids, high school boys. They've had 60 or 70 coaches before you,
Mm.
right?
Yeah,
And
they had a lot.
and I've come to the conclusion a long time ago that number one, I don't want to be their last coach. Um, and I want them to remember me positive as a positive experience at that, especially in high school at that time of their life, because I think high school hockey is the hardest to coach because of all of the stuff that's going on. Because I've coached juniors, I've coached college, I've coached all the youth levels, but high school is particularly difficult. And so I I have come to the conclusion that within a week, or it depends how many times you're with them, they decide very quickly if you know what you're talking about and if you care. And it's like that 15 seconds that you get to make an impression when you meet a new person, right? Well, you might get a few practices with these kids. If they decide that, if they decide that you're not going to provide any value to them, they will cooperate to a point. But um, I work with a sports psychologist. I've had him work with problem situations with some kids and families. We're good friends. I've done a lot of work with him, and I've learned a lot from him too. And Saul, are you a sports psychologist?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's way underutilized, I think, in our games and dealing with people. And uh, yeah, I this whole thing is so fascinating. And I'm going to get a team of kids this fall that I've never met any of them. And um, that that worries me a little bit. But we'll get through it. It'll be fun. And
What did I ask you guys also